Who was Karl Marx? He was born on May 5, 1818, in Prussia, or what today is known as Germany. He died on March 14, 1883, in London, England, at the age of 64. He was a German philosopher, historian, journalist, sociologist, economist, and revolutionary socialist. He was married to Jenny von Westphalen on June 19, 1843, and they had 7 children. His early life. He was one of 9 children born to Heinrich and Henrietta Marx. He became the eldest son when his brother Maurice died in 1819. His father was a successful lawyer who reviewed Kant and Voltaire. Their parents were Jewish, but his father converted to Christianity in 1816. Karl was baptized into the Lutheran Church in August 1824, after his father's death. He was an average student. First, he was educated at home until he was 12 and then spent 5 years at the Jesuit high school. Education. In October 1835, he began studying at the University of Bonn, wishing to study philosophy and literature. There, he had a lively and rebellious culture and was imprisoned for drunkenness and disturbing the peace. So his father insisted him to enroll in the more serious University of Berlin. In Berlin, he studied law and philosophy and was introduced to the philosophy of G. W. F. Hegel. In 1836, as he was becoming more politically serious, Marx was secretly engaged to Jenny von Westphalen. Because of his increasing radicalism, caused his father angst, so he admonished him for not taking the responsibilities of marriage seriously enough, particularly when his wife-to-be came from a higher class. Marx did not settle down, and in 1841 he received his doctorate from the University of Jena. In 1842 he became the editor of the Rheinische Zeitung. In June 1843 he married Jenny von Westphalen, and 4 months later they moved to Paris. While living in Paris, Marx founded a political journal titled Des Französischen Rapporteurs, the German-French Annals. In August 1844, the journal brought Marx together with Friedrich Engels, who became his collaborator and lifelong friend. Their first collaboration was published in 1845 as The Holy Family, a criticism of the philosophical ideas of Marx's former friend Bruno Bauer. In 1846, Marx moved to Belgium after being expelled from France while writing for another radical newspaper, The Voorwaarts. While living in Brussels, Marx was introduced to socialism by Moses Hess and broke off the philosophy of the young Hegelians. He wrote The German Ideology, in which he first developed his theory on historical naturalism. In 1846, Marx founded a Communist Correspondence Committee. In 1847, at a Central Committee meeting in London, Marx and Engels were asked to write the Manifest der Kommunistischen Partei, the Manifesto of the Communist Party. The Communist Manifesto was published in 1848. In 1849, Marx was expelled from Belgium and went to France. There, he was deported. Prussia refused to renaturalize him, so Marx moved to London. He remained there until his death. In London, Marx helped found the German Workers' Educational Society, as well as a new headquarters for the Communist League. From 1852 to 1862, he continued working as a journalist and as a correspondent for the New York Daily Tribune. Marx became increasingly focused on capitalism and economic theory. In 1867, he published the first volume of Das Kapital. The rest of his life he wrote 4 additional volumes, but he didn't finish them, so the remaining 2 were published by Engels later. Personal life. Marx and his wife had 7 children, but because to the poor condition in which they lived, only 3 survived to adulthood. Their children were Jenny Caroline, Jenny Laura, Edgar, Henry Edward Guy, Jenny Evelyn Francis, Jenny Julia, Eleanor, and one more who died before being named. Health. Marx was afflicted by poor health. He suffered headaches, eye inflammation, neuralgia in the head, and rheumatic pain. In 1877, a serious nervous disorder appeared. In his late teens, Marx had pneumonia. Death. After the death of his wife, Marx developed a cataract that kept him ill in health for the last 15 months of his life. Marx died of pleurisy in London on March 14, 1883. His stone is etched with the last line of the Communist Manifesto: "Workers of all land, unite." His influences. He influenced in Lycurgus philosophy, French socialist thought, the classical political economy of Adam S. and David R., young Hegelians' work, and the work of Friedrich Engels. His work. Marxism achieved its first great triumph in the Russian Revolution. Marx became a world figure, and his theories became a subject of universal attention and controversy. He wrote hundreds of articles and reports in only 5 books. He had a theory called history of materialism. His main ideas were surplus value, contributions to labor theory or value, class struggle, alienation and exploitation of the worker, materialist conception of history. Important data. Theory proposed by Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels were materialism. Marx said the problems of modern society could be attributed to material sources and the structures of capitalism. So he formulated this theory. It seeks to end capitalism because it is considered as a way to restrain, exploit, and control population. Marxism, or scientific socialism, is a name given to the body of ideas first worked out by Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels. These ideas provide a fully worked out theoretical basis for the struggle of the working class to attain a higher form of human society, or socialism. The study of Marxism falls under 3 main headings: dialectical materialism, historical materialism, and Marxist economics. These are the famous 3 component parts of Marxism.